What's up to all my viewers out there? You're tuned into another video. Today I want to talk about how the narcissist is dangerous. This is the part 3. If you guys haven't watched it already, I definitely would advise you, or just recommend you watch the first 2 parts, just so you understand the final video I'm making about it, about my experience dealing with the narcissist and just how toxic they are, how dangerous they are. So, kind of following back to last video, how I wrapped up. Yeah, so I was staying with a friend of mine for about a week and a half. I didn't let them know what was going. Excuse me, guys. Hold on one second. Yeah, I was staying with a friend of mine for a week and a half. I didn't tell them exactly what was going on because it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to be kicked out of my own home for nothing. I'm the one who had the proof. I'm the one who had things that I could bring to court to justify, what's been going on behind the scenes. But me being the person I am, at least then, I was just patient. I was just I knew it was wrong, but I was more than patient. More patient than I needed to be with this individual. But anyways, during this time, I was just distraught. I still had to work during that week and a half that I was out of my house, and it was hard just to keep on the positive energy. I definitely felt I'll put it to you like this. I was confident in the fact of knowing that there's nothing that she has, because I haven't done anything wrong. But the simple fact that she's bringing me to court, just brought a lot of anxiety. I even took it upon myself to call people. It was like a domestic counselor, something like that. It was a domestic counselor through the court system, and I was pretty much letting her know the situation. And just from their perspective, they're saying that they think I should get an attorney and things I didn't want to hear. Things I'm even though I had proof of her being the aggressor, her being the abuser, her, me having markings on me, you still think I need an attorney? And she was just saying, yeah. And this everyone I talked to were saying the reason why they felt like I needed an attorney is because she was the one who went to the courthouse. And, I feel like there's more to it. And I just picked up on the vibe as far as what they were getting at. But, through all this stress, which a lot of people tend to do, they rely on external sources to solve their problems, to alleviate their problems. But, at the time, I financially, as far as what attorney costs for them to even represent me, I didn't have the money then. Absolutely not. And, I didn't think she had an attorney as well, because from all I know, she didn't have money. Not like that. Anyways, I just know, I would say days leading up to the court hearing. And the court hearing was on a Zoom call, by the way. But anyways, a few days leading up to the court hearing, I'm a man, I'm a child of God. I believe in the Most High. And I just know a few days leading up to a court, it was just the divine messages I was receiving, just a confirmation of receiving, as far as having faith. Don't lose, don't focus on what you see, focus on the unseen, things that I know. But it's just when you're going through something, it's just easy, it's just human nature to focus on what it's seeing, because you're oh man, the storms are coming against me, I don't know what to do. But God has definitely worked wonders in my life, and I just know days leading up to that, I just felt a sense of calm. Despite me not having an attorney, despite me not knowing what's going to happen, the lies she's going to tell, he literally, just that spirit, just that calming message was just telling me to just relax and just trust, speak your truth. So fast forward to that day, we were on a Zoom call. It was early in the morning, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect, but I know I was prepared. I was prepared to be like, this is my time. This is my time. The fact that this narcissist in my life is trying to kick me out of my own house, to try to ruin my reputation, to try to damage me as much as possible. I was like, this is my time to show a court, what's really going on. So when it happens, when court session happens, I see her on video with an attorney. So when I seen that, in my head, I'm just like, okay, interesting, right? And where she was, it was in the place that we were sharing. So I'm just sitting there, and the judge proceeds to, just pretty much introduce the case, and she gave the opportunity for my ex-narcissist to speak about, basically why we're there and, the stuff that she experienced. I kid you not. I feel like if I were to tell you every single detail of what happened that morning, this video will probably be hours long, but I'm just going to kind of paraphrase a few things and kind of make the story a lot shorter just to get to the point. But long story short, she was just trying to just ruin me. She just couldn't, it's just hard to explain. When she was talking to the judge, when she was trying to explain the quote unquote trauma and the stuff she experienced, she just kept repeating herself. She kept not staying on task. The tears came, the not being able to think straight, the numerous pauses saying like, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I just got to get together. It was a whole act. And, I gotta just be there, be me, keep my cool, even though inside I'm like, I could not believe how just sick and disgusting this is to see this person behave like this, to gain sympathy, to ruin me, to try to ruin me. And I'll never forget after she was done talking, because she read off a piece of paper, which in my mind, as soon as I seen her reading off a piece of paper, I'm like, that right there is sketchy. I was like, I know if I was a judge, if I seen somebody reading off a piece of paper about what I experienced, and that experience, according to you, only happened like a week and a half ago, I would be kind of, skeptical, as far as the authenticity of what you're telling me. So, yeah, but to wrap it up, when she got to the end, she was saying that she would like for me to be required to pay for her attorney fees, or for her retainer, or whatever it was. And I think the retainer for the attorney was, I think it was like $3,500 or $5,000. This is one that I can't remember. Like I said, this was at this point, it's like 4 years ago. But yeah, she asked the judge, in case of her winning the protective order, which that's what she wanted, and the only reason why she wanted it is to keep me under control, because she knew I was figuring her out. She knew I was catching on to the game and to the illusion that she created, that it was all just a lie. She knew I was on to her. But yeah, and then right after that, I had my opportunity to speak, and I was comfortable. I was, despite what I was seeing, despite what it seemed like the odds stacked against me. I felt comfortable speaking my truth, and I went in and told my truth without a piece of paper, without looking at something, and on top of that, I even had pictures that I brought to the table. I remember I shared, I think, 2 pictures that I shared, and when it was all said and done, the judge her protective order, her protective order that she tried to put on me to try to make it seem like I'm this monster, this bad person, knowing that it was her, knowing that she was the toxic individual. She was the one who couldn't control herself. When it was all said and done, I was able to expose her for who she was, and the judge threw out that protective order. And I'll never forget. I was like, so Judge, I was like, I knew, obviously, because it was only temporary, and I knew after the order was thrown out that I can go back home. I just wanted to verify. I'm like, so Judge, I was like, at this point, I was like, at this very moment, I was like, I can go home. I was like, because I'm sure I told her, I was like, I'm sure she's there, and I just want to make sure I can go home. And she's like, yes. She's like, there's no order, there's nothing stopping you from going home. You can go home. And I was like, thank you, Your Honor. So, yeah, fast forward, I think I went home probably an hour after court that day. I went home, and she locked the door. Let me backtrack. I went home, and she ended up changing the locks. Which is illegal. We lived in an apartment. See, that's how entitled these narcissists are. This is the point I'm trying to make. That's how entitled they are. She, after only a week and a half, knowing it was only a temporary restraining order, I think within 2 days of me being out of the house, she changed the locks. So, on top of her not getting what she wanted, which was that permanent protective order, and me being able to come home, and me being more than required to have a key to my own house, even though she changed it, it made her sick. I literally had to call the police and tell them what was going on for them to knock on the door. And let me backtrack. Her own attorney, I kid you not, her own attorney was in there as well, acting like they were afraid of me. I had to call the police just for them to knock on the door to let them know, hey, this is the police. We need you to open up. A big scene, man. A big scene. I think I was outside the apartment complex. I know one officer was with me just talking to me. The other officer was upstairs trying to figure out what's going on. Probably like 5 minutes later, she ended up coming out. Her attorney just kind of walked opposite direction. It was weird, man. It was strange. Her attorney walked opposite direction, and she just had stuff in her hand and left. And an officer just he said something along the lines of, he's like, I don't know what happened. He's like, but it just seems like things are not good. I was like, things are not good, but I was like, things are going to get a lot better for me. That's all I said to him. Because at the end of the day, it's just I was there. I'm not going to sit there and explain what was happening. But I know my rights, and I know I could still go to my house. What she did was illegal. So, yeah, at that point, man, she slowly but surely, because I came back, she kind of spiraled out of control. There was days where she would just message me saying I'm in control. You know what I'm saying? Exposing herself for who she really is, man. It was just sick. It was sick to hear. And then eventually she moved all her stuff out. She stopped paying rent. And I was paying half the rent, and then she just stopped paying rent. But, I just felt in my spirit that, God brought me through. God brought me through the court situation. And he knows that I should have never been with this individual. There's plenty of signs that I ignored. Not saying I intentionally ignored, but, I wasn't using my better judgment of things. I understand that. But I just felt like he could bring me through this as well. And at the end of the day, despite the Narc deciding not to pay rent anymore, and me not being able to keep up the rent by myself at the time, I was still able to make it through the remaining of the lease. And God blessed me with an even better apartment. So that's pretty much it, man. I mean, there's a lot more detail into the story, but you just gotta be careful. Watch out for these narcissists. They are toxic. They roam around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Keep that in mind. That's biblical scripture. Thank you for all those who tuned into this video. Again, thank you to all my subscribers. Until next time, peace.